Hello and welcome. We are interviewing Jurgen Winkel of SONICrider,
Yeah.
and it's a
Hi,
pleasure to
Mark.
have you here, Jurgen.
Yeah.
Our traditional starting question is, what started you down the path to perform electronic music all those years ago when you were a small child?
Yeah. Well, I heard a lot of music from my neighbor, and then suddenly he came with things like Electric Light Orchestra and Hawkwind and all that kind of band. And every time when there was electronic instrument in it, I found it interesting because a guitar I know, a drum I know, a bass guitar, and then I heard a synthesizer or tapes, and immediately I was attracted to that sound, and it's each time different, and that was the start for me.
Wonderful. So, uh, when you approach making music, what is the process that you use to build a track?
To me, the inspiration mostly is politics and what is going on in the world and my view on it. And years ago, I was in a punk electric band, and it was very obvious what our view was, but now it's more in the music. But still, for me, the start is I hear something about the lockdown, what's actual now, and immediately it starts in my head, transposing it into sounds, music, and it's always been there. For me, there is a message in it, and it's not so that the listener should hear the message, but for me, it's in it, and that's always how it works. And then I find sounds that fit my emotions, and that's the same when I play live. Every time it's a bit different because the audience or the atmosphere or driving there was a hurry. Then it reflects in the music I make. That's yeah, that's how it works for me.
I see. So I was going to ask you, is there a particular instrument that you're going to be using for Wonder Valley Experimental 13 that you would like to introduce that
Yeah, yes, I
inspires you?
did. It's the Lyra. It's the white thing here. It's Russian made. I can zoom in on it, but later on I can zoom and let's hear something. And the maker, Vlad Kilmer, is a Russian guy, and he tried to make an instrument that resembles nature. When you watch the sea, you see the waves coming, but they're always a bit different. So he tries to make an instrument to to make those kind of sounds, but also influence the player. He doesn't want that the player influence the instrument, it's the other way around. So in terms of a modular or synthesizer, it's eight voice, but each voice interacts with each other. So when you have a nice tune and you do another oscillator sound, then it influences the sound of the other one. So it gets crazy and crazy and crazier. And in the end, you can make guitar solos with it. And in the piece I play for your festival, each time when you hear a sort of lead guitar thing, it's the Lyra. So,
Wow.
so shall I make two or three
I think
songs
you
so you
should.
get an idea?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. So in fact, you play it with those here. It's magnetics, and when I put my finger on it, you hear the sound. Can you hear the sound?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
And I can tune them. But now I'm gonna play this one and it influence. You hear?
Yes, yes.
And this idea you have 8 times.
Wow.
But then they each oscillator, the groups of two, are going to one pitch knob. And then you can make a drone like this. So you notice it is very hard to make a melody. That's not possible with this.
Wow. I can barely hear the drone. I think that
Sorry?
Zoom may be deciding that it's background sound. So maybe boost up the drone a little bit more so that we can get a sample of that.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna put up the volume.
Ah, yes. That that's cool.
It gives a bit of flavor of what is
Mm-hmm.
possible, and then it has a distortion and a delay, and it all can be influenced with the LFO that's inside. So
Wow.
you can keep building. When I got this thing, I'm often go to bed and play for hours with my headphones, and it never is dull, you know. So
It's
that's the Lyra, and I'm waiting on a piece that will be belong to it, but it's made in Russian, and I tried to transfer money, but then suddenly the bank said, no, you transfer money to Russia. That's not possible. So it took for months to let it work,
oh
and it's a sequencer for the Lyra, and it works with
oh wow.
magnetics. So I can put on those things, I can put connectors, and then it plays. And the nice thing is that the sequencer doesn't work with beats per minute, but how long you make a step. So when you make
Okay.
8 short steps, you know, and you can make again a sort of nature of flavors, you know. So that will be.
Interesting.
So it's now in the air somewhere between Moscow and here, and it will drop in my studio soon.
That sounds fabulous.
Yeah,
That's really great. That is a very inspiring piece.
yeah, it is.
Um, so I wanted to touch on your release on Bandcamp Modular Station.
Yes.
And the thing that really impressed me with that was the really distinctive quality each of the tracks had with your modular setup. They really had a different vibe. Some people don't have the advantage of being able to create such diversity with modulars. How do you do it? How do you get that wide difference between each one?
Well, like I told about my inspiration, and I compare it often with cooking a meal, you know?
Sure.
So, what do I want today? And which ingredients do I use? And then you see on the back, I have modules, and then I start tuning them or make sounds that fit the idea. And sometimes a label asks me, "Can you do techno?" And then I say, "Yeah, I can." But then I make an introduction or an intro and an outro that isn't techno, and then in first they say, no, it's not what we meaning. But then when they get to the middle, they say, wow, this is nice. Can we only use the middle part? No, you have to use all, you know. So I try also people to bring on other ideas than techno. You know, yeah, techno is nice, but it's nice when you build to it and go back. And that's with the 6 tracks. They are all at different ideas for different goals. And then this happens, you know. And I think
Mm-hmm.
the red line is how I create sound. But the best albums I know from other people is when they can surprise me when I hear the next song or the next song or the next song, you know. And
Absolutely.
so it's not that I'm looking to surprise people, but it happens, you know.
Well, I think it's great, and maybe the label is looking for a particular thing, but I know that a lot of DJs require a long lead in, you know, and they can work with that and use it and mix it in a different way. And so from the perspective of a DJ, a long lead in and a tail offers you different options to get from where you are to where you're going. So I understand.
What's a nice thing, Mark, I did a piece with my tape recorders. So what I did, I recorded the piece from half an hour, and then I put speed halfway, use that as bass, play over it, and did this 2 times. So in the end, the piece was more than 1.5 hours. And I tried to release it, but it wasn't possible. iTunes can't handle it. No platform can handle it. So I started my own label, you know, to be so it's possible to release that kind of music. And now more and more people starting to work like this, because we all think it should be 3 or 5 minutes, or it's a maxi is 12 minutes, but then it stops, you know. But when you listen to drone music, it can be very long. And so again, you know, I'm trying things, and then in the end the result is a track of 1.5 hours. That wasn't the goal, but it happened, you know. And so
that, you know, I think that reminds me of a thing that was on the internet early on called 9-beat stretch, where they took Beethoven's Ninth Symphony and stretched it to 24 hours. And they had to have a special server just to deal with that, a 24-hour piece. And you would just dial it up, and it would be there, it would be going. It was beautiful. It was just really, it was pretty special. I liked it a lot. But you need more time.
Did they the Ninth of Beethoven by transposing it? Was it slowed down? Yeah,
it was slow. It was just pulled out to 24 hours. It was really a very beautiful evolution of sound. It was great.
Yeah, cool.
So back to you. What is your current project?
My current project started at the beginning of lockdown, almost a year ago. And it was for the first time that I found a time to start with a modular arrangement. And meaning by that is that when I'm finished, I can give it to other musicians and they can play that modular piece, because it's all written in signs. So each oscillator or gate, it's all drawn, you know? And I can give a glimpse of it. Let's see if I can go over to that side. Yeah, here it is. And I call it the Derova-Stock study because it's a combination of the name of Steve Reich and Karl-Heinz Stockhausen. Because when I read both biographies, they had a lot in common, how they approach music. So I thought, let's combine those 2 people and try to make a piece about the words they use a lot. So I did now wait, I have to scroll here, not on the screen. The first one is part 1 is with the irregular clock. So I use a clock that each time changes, and I have 16 sound sources, and they all react on the clock. And it's about 42 minutes. And the second one is with a regular clock. So it's the same piece, but only one element changed, and the whole piece is different. And I'm using, this is the sound sources I used, and this is a bit how it looks on paper. So you see all lines, and I all draw in time what you should do, the intensity of sounds, the key of the sound. And I will then record this, I think 5-6 more times, and then it's finished, to give it on other people and try to play this. And I'm really wondering what will come out of it, because it's their interpretation of what I written down. So that's, and I have the time to do the lockdown. What normally every weekend I'm on tour or a sound engineer, and now I can really focus on this, and it's great. It's great doing. So that's the project I'm working on. Yeah,
that is the best use of the lockdown I've heard lately. That's wonderful.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, Jurgen. Do you have any closing comments or anything that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I come back here. Well, I think we have something nice for the viewers or the listeners to the festival. We can give 10 albums with the 6 different styles we can share or give. So you in the lead, who to give it and which way. And they get a download code and they can get the album from Bandcamp.
Awesome. Outstanding. Well, we will do that, and I'll be in touch with you to put the final touches on that part later. But have a great day, and I can't wait to see what you've got for the festival.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.